You're listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marci Persky. Well, almost along with Marci Persky. She's just had another one of her famous household mishaps. Also in this podcast, the pigeons pack a suitcase and the joy of new words for very old things. What exactly happened to you?
Well...
Yeah. Yes.
I think like somebody else like summed it up when they said maybe I'm a little too old for deck flipping or porch flipping. I sat in a chair and probably should have looked a lot closer at that chair to make sure that all four legs were on the deck, because as soon as I sat down, I went kaboom and landed squarely on a giant metal trough.
Will you excuse me for mentioning that since we've been doing this podcast, you have
I know.
flipped out of your chair 3 different chairs, at least 3 different times. You did the Barkle Lounger, you did the zero gravity chair, and now some kind of porch deck chair. You have no luck with chairs. Maybe you should just stand all the time.
Took me a while to get up. I don't remember the last time I've had the wind knocked out of me that hard. You know, like, remember when you're a kid and you fall off your bike?
Yes.
And you just lay there?
Yes.
That's pretty much where I was. And my husband was dancing around going, should I call an ambulance? Should I call an ambulance? And I said, no, I'm laying on the ground. Just leave me.
I've had that conversation. Are you all right? Should I pick you up? No. Just leave me be here on the ground. I'm happy here on the ground where I am. Don't touch me.
And there's a nice big spot where you can see where I fell, where like all the dry, brown, prickly weeds are all like flattened in one
We'll
spot.
call that the Marci Persky Memorial Garden. Set up a little bench there for contemplation.
Except that I'm not dead.
But still, if we put the Marci Persky Memorial Garden,
No,
it
I guess.
can just be a place where we sit to think about you when we're not falling down on the ground.
When you're not, when you think about me and laugh.
Yeah. It just begs the question now, after you're gone, do you want a memorial bench somewhere? It sounds to me like maybe you might not.
I would like a memorial sculpture of the Barkle Lounger with the zero gravity chair on top of it, and then upside down with maybe a frowny face, the green chair that flipped me off the deck Friday.
So it will kind of look like a Dr. Seuss compilation of various unstable chairs. And then
Yes.
kind of like one of those motion stable things that were popular in the 70s, those desk toys, only giant.
Yes, exactly.
On the subject of sitting in things and sitting on things, we have a war going on at our house. It is a war against an almost undefeatable urban pest. We have pigeons who've decided to nest underneath the eaves of our front porch. Does the porch have eaves? Whatever it is that the porch has, that they're going to be there. And we saw them scoping out the territory, and they made these like, well, I don't know, honey, do you think it has enough bedrooms? Well, yeah, but the kitchen's going to need to be redone. They had a whole pigeon conversation before they picked out. And here's the thing I learned about pigeons. They don't just build one nest. They have 2 places. They're like that old joke about the guy that they find on the desert island. It's a Jewish joke. I don't know if it works for Christians, but they find a guy on the desert island, an old Jewish guy, and he's the only one there, and he's built 2 synagogues. And they say, well, we understand you might want a synagogue for yourself, but what's the other one? And he says, well, this is my synagogue, and that one I wouldn't go to if you paid me, which is kind of the way that my people operate. If you are our podcast listener who is not Jewish, I hope that explains a few things about the Jewish people to you. But the pigeons pick out one place to build their nest, and then at night they sleep across from it. They don't sleep in the nest. The nest is over. I guess they'll put some eggs in there. So that's by the porch pillar, the pillar that holds up the edge. And then they themselves are sitting and excreting above the window on the house side
You
of the
put little
porch.
diapers on them?
Well, we have not tried diapering the pigeons, no. Now the spousal unit has made it like a grudge match. It's going to be like cage fighting for the spouse and the pigeons. He went at them with a hose twice. They laugh, they go away, they come back. This is going to go on now, I think, all summer long. And I suggested a solution, but I think he may be enjoying himself way too much just spraying them.
We had a pet pigeon for quite a while.
A pet pigeon.
Yes, he was part of I think it was a Sherlock Holmes play at Theatricals in Flagstaff.
Huh.
And when the play was over, there was the whole "what do we do with the pigeon" kind of thing,
And so,
because
of
he
course,
wasn't really a wild pigeon.
No,
Because
so
by then
yeah,
he was trained, and of course he ended up in
your house.
my youngest's bedroom.
Of course.
His name was Ralph until he started laying eggs. And then his name was still Ralph because why change it?
Yeah, why not? It's not like it's offending him, her, it, they.
It,
But these two pigeons, you can hear them in the morning promenading, like, we're still here. Ha ha. They make really nice noises. I can understand why people like them.
I like listening to birds.
I don't mind that. The problem with the pigeons is the excreta, which piles up pretty fast on the porch. And they're very clean in their nesting habits. They dangle their tail feathers right off the ledge and right onto the porch is where everything goes. So I'm going to give the spouse a week or two of playing games with the hose. And then I will request that he implement my preferred stratagem, which is to get some chicken wire and to just put it across for a while. I don't care if he puts it up with duct tape. They're not like squirrels that can yank things down if you don't screw them in with a 9-inch bolt. At first I thought, why did they pick our house? And then I thought, why did it take them so long to pick our house? Our house is sort of ideal for pigeons. Why would they want to live under a viaduct where the air is dirty and you have to smell the homeless people's portage on? Why not? Our house has flowers. Our house has a nice shady porch. What took them so long?
I've never seen any pigeons out here.
You have plenty of birds there that would make short work of the pigeons.
Probably, my guess is
they would just be a little
make a nice snack for a golden eagle.
Yeah, snack pigeons. Well, I could buy them an all expenses paid trip to Arizona, see how long they last out there.
Yeah, no thank you. No thank you. Arizona's burning right now.
Yeah, I saw it. How did you get this fire started? It sounded dreadful.
This is the weirdest thing. Last time I looked, it was 20,000 acres and still roaring. The whole mountainside, thousands and thousands and thousands of people were evacuated. And this fire was started by a man from Louisiana who decided that he had to poop in the woods. And then he decided to burn his toilet paper and stick it under a rock. And that lit
Wait a minute.
a wildfire
How do
that's
you
now out
even
of control.
How do you even stick something burning under? He dropped a rock on his burning toilet paper?
No, he shoved it against a rock.
Did they catch the guy from Louisiana, or did he actually call for help and admit what he had done?
Oh, heck no.
He
No,
did.
people reported a white truck with Louisiana plates. He was found within an hour. I mean, he's in federal prison now. People are just dumb.
I will not argue with you on that. People are indeed not always so bright. Although, again, to be fair, if you're from Louisiana, it might never occur to you how dry something
no
can
water.
get. Yeah, it is true that when you go to some other place that is a completely different environment, it is really sometimes hard to imagine what's abundant, what's scarce, what the hazards are.
I don't think I'd be lighting anything in a 50, 60 mile an hour wind, however. And, there's now people are complaining because there are bears running all over the place and elk and everything else, but they have nowhere to go.
Do not adopt an elk. Do not
No,
adopt
just a bear.
a bear. Do not.
bear.
I just now I'm worried. Yeah,
And
no, no,
oh my God.
no bear,
I'll
no
send you a
elk.
picture of Frankie's face. Gets home and there's a bear sitting on the back deck. Frankie, look, I named him Tiny. I'm not adopting any wildlife.
Good. You have enough trouble. Speaking of getting into trouble while steering you adroitly away from the idea of adopting a baby bear, there's been a rash of police involved shootings lately.
Yeah.
The reason I'm mentioning these isn't the actual incidents themselves, it's that the language that some of the police and 911 operators use to describe the folks that they're dealing with is stuff I've never heard before.
Mm-hmm.
I always cultivate new descriptions for people being nuts that I've never heard before.
Yeah.
Expressions I've borrowed over the years, couple bubbles off plum, bulb shy of the chandelier. But the one that I read this morning that I had never heard before was one cop saying to a neighbor on a call for help, a mental health call for help, his cheese done slid off his cracker. I had never heard that
That's a good
before.
one.
I would like to
That's a
keep
really
that. I'm putting that if I had a file box, I would put that on a card in the file.
He slid off the cracker.
Cheese done slid off his cracker. I think it's better with done in the middle of it.
No, I think yeah, you need the done.
Yeah, you can't just say his cheese slid off his cracker. That's not nearly as good.
My dad used to have a ton of those. Most of them I can't say on the radio.
No, but you
But
can use
my-
cheese done
my-
slid off his cracker.
Yes,
I think
yes.
we're all going to use that one now.
My dad's favorite. There used to be this local country music TV show in Kalamazoo,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on, I think, Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why my dad insisted on watching it because he hated it. And every time the host would come on, my dad would say, "That guy is uglier than a frying pan full of assholes." And I have no idea what that means, but it sounds pretty ugly. And he was a broadcaster too.
Yeah, he saved all these for home because he couldn't use them on the air.
Exactly.
Does your phone try to make you text without swearing? My texting function is using little asterisks when I use voice to text and swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes me too long to find asterisks on my phone.
It's automatically doing it for me now.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm saying. If I do voice to
censorship.
text, it's doing it itself.
I disapprove.
I would have to fight to get it to say HIT. I would have to argue with it.
Siri is
It
censoring
keeps
you.
changing it back to asterisks. Score one for technology. My phone is going to make me a nicer person, whether I want it to or not.
Right on.
If you've made it this far, chances are you've been enjoying Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. In which case, you might also like my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. You can find that at your neighborhood independent bookstore or on Amazon. Marci and I really appreciate your good reviews wherever you care to leave them. Your kind words help the podcast grow. Thanks.